Confident, confident, confident. I can be confident, 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 confident. I can be confident at work.
Hello and welcome to the Confident at Work podcast. I'm your host and your confidence coach, Anna Manning. And today we're talking about building a boss that you're going to love. Now, you may or may not know this thing called Build a Bear. If you don't know it, Build a Bear is this thing where you choose a cuddly toy. They call it a furry friend. So you choose a furry friend. Let's say it's a hamster. And once you've selected your furry friend, you get to choose the clothes that the hamster wears and the shoes that the hamster wears, just in case you thought a toy hamster needed clothes and shoes. Then you get to choose what sounds the hamster can make, and you get to choose what scent the hamster has. You don't get to choose that in real life, but if it's a Build-A-Bear hamster, you do. Then you choose accessories for your hamster. Now, you can do this with any toy. It doesn't have to be a hamster. It can be a blue teddy bear, whatever. But the point is this: you get to build your furry friend from the ground up so that it has the exact specifications that you love for your comfort. And maybe you're like, yeah, great, Anna, but I'm definitely not going to build a bear. I'm maybe buy this for a kid in my life. But there is a point to this. Much of my time is spent helping people think about the kind of boss that they want to build on the inside. If you're new to this podcast, you might not have heard me talk about this before. If you're not new to the podcast, hello, old friend. And you've heard me talk about this many, many, many times. This concept, this idea that we essentially have a boss who is living in our head, and that boss oversees every piece of work we do, every email that we send, every job interview that we go for, every promotion that we get, every industry that we change to. That boss, that internal manager goes with us. And what most people don't know is that they have the opportunity, you have the opportunity to build the kind of boss that you want. So it's like build a bear, but build a boss. But most people don't know that this option is ever available. So the boss that they have is some raggedy old mean bear, which has been selected for them and is just living rent free in their head. You might be like this. You might not have selected the clothes and shoes, the sounds and scents, and the accessories for the boss that you have living in your head. Most people haven't. Unless you've done some fairly specific work with me, and then hello, you probably have. But if you haven't, I want you to know that you can build a boss just like you can build a bear. And when you do, you're going to get the kind of boss that you want living in your head 24/7 too. That boss is going to be personalized for you to get you the kind of results that you want, to give you the kind of support that you need. Everyone's a little bit different when it comes to the kind of feedback they want, the kind of support that they need, the kind of space that they need, or the kind of scaffolding that they need, right? We're all different. One thing we know for sure is that you deserve a good one. You deserve a good boss. And my job is to help you to build her or him or them from the ground up. Maybe the boss who lives inside you has been criticizing you a lot for a long time. But what if you decided to build that boss differently? What if you decided to build that boss in a way that they encourage you instead of criticizing you? That instead of saying, oh my God, you're such an idiot, why did you say that? That they say, well, you did garble a bit there, but hats off to you for saying something. I'm proud of you. We'll go again next time. What if you built a boss that instead of doubting your every move, why you should be in the job, whether you got that right, whether this is good enough, trusts you instead? And on the days where you're doubting, says, you know what? I trust you. You know what you're doing. You've got a reason for being here. You've got loads of experience. Just go for it. What if you have a boss that gives you a little bit of love on a bad day instead of giving you a hard time and telling you to just get over it? So many people's internal boss tells them that they should just power through and get over it. Worst advice ever. If somebody else said that to you, you'd be like, wow, rude and unhelpful. So if you were building your perfect boss, what would they do for you on a hard day? How would they treat you? Would they cock their head to one side and say, oh, it looks like you're having it a bit tough today. Is there anything I can do? Is there anything you need? Imagine if you had a boss inside which did all that for you. Imagine having a boss that whispers to you, I believe in you, when you're on your way to do something which is scary, when you're on the way to do something which is outside your comfort zone. Instead of heckling you from the sidelines and telling you that your reputation's going to end up in ruins and who the hell do you think you are, which is what a lot of our internal bosses do. Your boss whispered, I believe in you. I believe in you. You can do it. Come on. Imagine having that kind of internal boss. What setting would you build into your boss that would give you the most support when you were going to do a big scary thing? And then imagine that boss also says, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if you go in there and fall flat on your face or get this whole thing wrong. I'm never going to cuss you. I'm never going to call you out. I'm going to support you. I'm going to be proud of you for trying. Imagine if you knew that no matter what you did, no matter what you got wrong, that boss was going to have your back. They were going to be there to support you, pick you up, dust you off, help you to go again. If you were building a boss, is that the kind of boss you would build? Imagine building the kind of boss that set you realistic standards instead of setting you up to fail. Many of our internal bosses have standards so sky high that no real human being could ever really reach them. But what if you got to build a boss? What kind of standards would they set for you? When you're doing something for the first time, when it's a first draft, when it's just an email, would they demand perfection of you at every turn and tell you that even when it was kind of perfect, it still wasn't quite good enough? Or would they do the total opposite? Would they recognize the energy and the input and the try, even when you missed the mark? Would they encourage you to go back out there and try again next time? Would they say, I don't need this to be perfect, I just need it to be done? Imagine building the kind of boss that you needed when you made a mistake. What kind of boss do you need in that moment? One that helps you to learn from it, draws a line from it, and allows you to move on? Or one that chews you out for 3 months? I know what I'd prefer. But imagine you get to build a boss inside. What's the settings that you choose for when a mistake happens? Do they criticize you and call you out, or do they help you learn from it, draw a line under it, and move on? Now imagine how that ideal boss that you build would treat you in relation to your peers, to your colleagues, to the people around you. Do they compare you and see you coming off negatively? Do they mention the fact that everybody else seems to have everything together and it's just you that seems to be struggling? Probably not. If you were building the kind of boss you needed, maybe you'd build one that saw your strengths and saw the strengths of everybody else too and never sought to pit them against one another, but helped you to use those strengths for the collective. Maybe your internal boss would do that too. See your strengths, know your strengths, trust your strengths, and see those of others too and be okay with that. What kind of feedback settings would you choose for your builder boss? Somebody who gave you regular feedback and acknowledgement for the stuff that you've done, or somebody who barely ever noticed? Maybe you choose the lots of feedback and praise option. Some people do. Maybe your builder boss would say to you at the end of every day, good job today. Maybe you'd get to the end of a particularly challenging piece of work and that boss would notice you really had to come through and stick at that, and you did. And I saw your grit and your determination, and I applaud you for it. Maybe your builder boss really notices things that you do, things that you struggle with, things that you try, those little risks that you take, those skills you build. Maybe they really notice them and they acknowledge them in you. This isn't a pipe dream. You can build a boss because you already have one living inside you, whether you've selected it or not. But it might be some random ass collection of characteristics that you never would have chosen, that you never would have asked for, and that you would never dream of in a boss that you'd selected. Well, that's what we're here for, to help you notice all those characteristics and to help you build a boss that you love from the ground up. Because we all know it, when we work for good bosses, they inspire us, they motivate us, they challenge us, they keep us honest, they keep us going, they keep us developing, and they help us to feel confident. I'm not suggesting that this internal boss can replace everyone else around you. It's great if you also have a good external boss, but we can't control that. We can't build that boss. But we can build this boss. We can build the boss who lives in you. And you can select all those features and all of those characteristics intentionally, on purpose. Build the boss that you need and that you want and that you would thrive under and do your best work with. This isn't some airy fairy stuff. This is hardcore. And what I found out was that when I actually built this boss, she doesn't just live with me in the workhouse, she lives with me all the time. This boss has my back. Does she always get everything perfect and right? No, it's okay if she doesn't. I don't expect it. But after some training, the boss that I've built inside knows what's expected. And now it gives it freely. It gives me good feedback. It acknowledges me for the stuff that I do. It doesn't chew me out when I make a mistake, but it's like, okay, what can we do? Let's move on. Now, I don't have a boss, so it's even more important for me. But working with people day in, day out, maybe like you who do have a boss, I know how important it is for you to build a boss. Build a boss on the inside who you love, who's the best boss that you could ever have. Maybe you won't get all the way there, but you'll get somewhere close. You deserve a good boss. Build your boss. And if you want my help to build your boss, there's different ways you can work with me. Click the link in the show notes. Take the confidence assessment. That's our free resource. That is going to be the starting point for building a boss that you love on the inside. Come and work with me privately in confidence coaching or come and join the members club. The doors open again in September 24, but you can put your name down on the wait list in the meantime. That's all I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Confident, confident, confident. I can be confident, 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 confident. I can be confident at work.